Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Penny says that her husband Glenn told her best friend Paula that Penny was dying and wanted Paula to marry him.
What started as a search for truth.
You say that's a lie.
It's a lie.
You called me.
You passed yourself around more than a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Seriously? This is not about me, Glenn. This is about you.
Took a turn no one expected.
You seem to be struggling. Are you having an anxiety attack? Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. I'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life. I am not giving up on you. All right, I have a question for you, and you really have to think about this before you answer, because you'll knee-jerk, for all of you here and those at home. If the spouse or significant other of your best friend, somebody really close to you, hit on you, propositioned you, or really came on to you, would you tell your friend? It could cost you the friendship. Think about that. How many would tell? Right here, up here.
My name's Haley, and I would tell solely because I'd rather be honest with a friend, because what if I end up having to be brought back into it a long time after it's happened? Then I'm going to have to deal with it further. Like, just deal with it now and be honest.
Okay, so they might find out later and come and say, so you knew this and you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, all right, who else? Why would you tell?
Because I'd want to know.
You would want, you want somebody to tell you?
Yes, yes. It happened to me. I would want somebody to know. They didn't tell me, and I would want to know.
Would you feel betrayed if they didn't tell you?
I did.
And once you found out, what'd you say to your friend?
Why didn't you tell me?
Now, who wouldn't tell? Raise your hand if you wouldn't tell. All right, back here.
I've told before, and it didn't work. So you're kind of screwed if you do, and you're screwed if you don't.
That was my point. It doesn't always go smoothly, does it?
It always go smoothly, and I lost the friendship.
Okay, so I want you to listen to today's story, because Penny says that her close friend died. She was shocked when on the day of the memorial service, the newly widowed husband, Glenn, tried to kiss her. This is the day of the memorial service. Now, even though she felt like she was betraying her dear friend, just 3 months after the funeral, Penny and Glenn were married. But we all know the best predictor of future behavior is relevant past behavior. And eventually, Penny also fell ill and claims while she was in the hospital, Glenn told her best friend Paula that Penny was dying and asked Paula if she would step in as his wife and mother to their now 4-year-old daughter. Whoa. Only problem with that plan is Penny didn't die.
I first met my husband Glenn because I was friends with his first wife who passed away. After the memorial service, Glenn tried to kiss me and told me he had feelings for me.
Penny and I found a letter from my first wife. The letter said, Penny, if you're reading this, I know that this is what Glenn wanted, and you're now with each other.
We got married 3 months later. I was ecstatic.
I didn't think it was too fast because I love Penny, always have and always will.
I should have noticed the red flags with him being so clingy and trying to win me over. Now I think that Glenn is controlling. He's verbally abusive.
Because I know what to say. Because you're an idiot.
He's angry. He's a liar. He's a narcissistic sociopath.
Penny is downright cold-hearted and hateful. Her attitude towards me is horrible.
Well, a few months ago, my best friend Paula revealed a shocking secret to me. Glenn called her and told her that I was dying and said, once I die, will she marry him?
Glenn was lining up a new wife in case Penny died, and that wife was me.
What kind of husband would do that to his wife?
Paula is a liar. She's full of crap. The only thing I asked Paula is if something happened to Penny, if she would help take care of our daughter.
Glenn plays the victim and always makes excuses. I was secretly packing boxes to leave Glenn until he found out.
Get up, moving out. did not know that.
No, Glenn, I did not. That's what I told you a month ago.
No, that's what you told me a couple weeks ago.
My trust is completely gone with Glenn.
Now, your position is that you think he's done something that crossed the line in a big way.
Yes, totally.
Right? But you say he made a move on you at his wife's memorial service.
Yes, sir, he did. He leaned over and tried to kiss me, and I no, it's enough's enough.
That crossed the line with you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it totally crossed the line.
That's a red flag, right? That tells you there's some flaw in this man's character that had to send up a red flag, right?
It did.
But you married him 3 months later.
I know I did. I know. Because he wooed me so bad. He went out and he put billboards on his car. I kept telling him, just stay friends, we can build from there. Because I've known him for years.
Right.
We were friends.
Right.
But his first wife and I were friends also. And I felt like I was disrespecting her. Okay?
But you married him.
He came up with a letter that supposedly Glenna wrote and said that she knew how her and Glenn spoke prior to her passing because she had cancer. She knew she was dying. And, he brought me up this letter that she supposedly wrote. And it said that she knew Glenn was going to pursue me and that I had her permission.
Did it look like her handwriting?
I really didn't know Glenna's handwriting.
Uh-huh. You didn't know it was there until you found it?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay. Now, you announced your love for her on the loudspeaker at a store?
Yes, at Walmart.
He did. He did. It was embarrassing.
How does that work? I didn't know you could get on the loudspeaker at Walmart.
If you know,
I mean, I've never tried, but
if you talk to the right person and get the right code, you can.
So you have to get a code?
Yes.
And then you get on the phone? What did you say?
I told Penny, I said, Penny, I love you. Open up your heart to me.
And
I was mortified.
What?
I mean, we were shopping.
What aisle were you in?
We were in the hunting section because he was wanting hunting socks. And I couldn't find him, and then all of a sudden I hear this loudspeaker, and I'm like this, and I start walking out of the store.
Were you flattered?
Sure. Who wouldn't be?
Well, I don't know what the norm is in the hunting sock section. I mean, I don't know. Did you try to kiss her the day of your wife's memorial service?
I honestly can't answer that. It was an emotional roller coaster.
When you did.
Sorry for your loss, by the way. I know that's difficult to...
But I do want to explain, when my first wife was going through the cancer treatment, she sat down, she tried to talk to me. She wanted to know if I thought about anybody. I explained to her that I wasn't comfortable talking about it. I said, all I want to do is go to the doctor and get you healed up.
Uh-huh.
That's all I want to do. It kept up and kept up. And finally, she told me, she says, no, please, I want to know if you like anybody else. And that's when I come forward, even though I didn't want to. This was going as wishes. I've always liked Penny. I've been there for Penny. Me and my first wife both had. And after everything that has happened with my wife and everything that I have dealt with since I have been a child, has been an emotional roller coaster for me. I don't know how to cope with stuff, get it out of my head. It causes severe panic attacks.
See, and I didn't know anything about his past.
Well, we'll talk about that. Penny's best friend says she was shocked when Glenn told her that Penny was dying, and he wanted her to marry him and take over as mother as well. Glenn denies this.
That's a lie.
But the best friend is here to set the record straight. We'll be right back.
Penny had called me, and she started telling me about some of her suspicions of Glenn. She said, Paula, now, do you know something? I told her everything, and she was absolutely shocked.
Glenn, you seem to be struggling right now.
This is what he does.
Would you like to take a break?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, will you come help him and he can go backstage? And here, we'll come this way.
My fear is when Glenn has one of his outbursts that he's capable of killing me and our daughter. He gets so mad that he can't remember what he does, and it scares the hell out of me.
I've never given Penny any reason to be scared of me or to live in fear of me harming her.
I've texted my friends and family if I show up dead or my house burns down for them to contact the police and to investigate Glenn. I am literally scared for my life.
Well, Penny says recently she learned that her husband Glenn told her best friend Paula that Penny was dying and that when she passed away, Glenn wanted Paula to move in, look after their daughter, and marry him. Now, Glenn denies that. So let's hear what her best friend has to say.
Glenn is a total scumbag. He tries to get Penny to believe he is this wonderful, great husband. Glenn has run Penny down to nothing. She's just not the same friend that I once knew. She needs to get away from him and get herself help. In 2014, I got the call from Penny, and she was in the hospital. She had a blood clot. Then the next day, I get this call. I thought it was Penny. So once I answered, it was actually Glenn. He says, Penny is dying. He said, Paula, I have a question. Would you step in and be the mother to our daughter? And later on, we can talk about marriage. A few months ago, Penny had called me, and she started telling me about some of her suspicions of Glenn. I don't know if she knew something was up by the tone of my voice. She said, Paula, now, do you know something? I told her everything, and she was absolutely shocked. I offered to take a lie detector test, and I would pay for it. I even offered to pay for Glenn's as well. She said no to both. She knew I would never lie to her. When Glenn says I'm a liar, it makes me so mad. I want to confront Glenn and tell him, how dare you? Penny needs to know the truth.
You say that's a lie.
Yeah, it's a damn lie. It's a lie.
How?
Paula,
You called me.
Listen to me. It's my turn to talk. You pass yourself around more than a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Seriously?
This is not about me, Glenn.
This is about you.
No,
what
this
you've
is
done to
about
my
me
friend.
and my wife and my
you
family.
know,
If you
yes,
want to
I
pass
want you
yourself
guys to
around
be-
like a bucket of Kentucky Fried
like
Chicken, you're the
Is
one
that
that was
different?
out people when you're married.
No, separated. That's way different.
No,
that is
no,
way
it's
different.
not.
I was not leading my husband on like you have been. You called me and asked me if I wait. Let me speak.
I'm not going to stop. Just like you got Penny's phone the other night.
Well,
yes, I did.
Hold on. Actually, you are going to stop.
Okay.
You're saying that he has a problem with rage and it scares you and he's explosive.
Scares me beyond belief.
To the point that you're worried about what might happen. Seems to be a very valid thing, because it seems to me that he has a hair-triggered rage if somebody confronts him with something you don't like.
That's what he does all the time.
Is this typical of you yelling and screaming?
Mm-hmm.
Lately, yes.
Not lately.
Yeah.
You do it all the time, Glenn.
What are you, ventriloquist? I'm asking him.
I'm sorry. I'm nervous.
Is this typical? And why?
For a while, yes. I've got stuff that's pent up in me since I've been a child that I don't know how to deal with.
Well, what are you doing about it? What, have you gotten help?
I'm trying to get help right now. They put me on different medications.
Dr. Phil, he goes and then he goes and then he goes twice and he stops.
Are you in ongoing therapy right now?
Yes.
How often do you go?
Every 30 days.
So you're not in ongoing talking therapy with someone that you sit down with and
No.
go through. You just go in to get medication and they refresh it every 30 days.
Yes.
Paula says that you have called her and asked her if you wanted to try out the bed in your truck.
That is not what I said.
What did you say?
I asked her if something happened to Penny, if she would help take care of our daughter.
You have a bed in your truck?
All pickup trucks has got a bed in them.
So you're talking about the pickup bed?
Yeah.
Well, that's not very romantic. So what did he say?
He asked, I want to go for a ride out in the country, and we can try out the new bed in his truck.
While I'm in the hospital.
Yeah.
So she's just making all this up out of whole cloth.
She tries
totally
to stir.
fabricated.
She tries to stir the pot. The only thing I asked her was if something would happen to Penny, if she would help take care of my daughter. I'm scared.
Well, Penny's niece says that her aunt needs to divorce Glenn, who she wants to expose for the man he really is. So we'll see what she has to say next. We'll be right back.
There is 100% no doubt that my aunt is in a verbally abusive relationship with Glenn. Their marriage is completely based on lies.
You can stand. You can stand. Anxiety doesn't take your legs away. You can stand.
I got you. I got you. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got you. I got you. Don't worry.
Penny's niece Miranda says she will never stop interfering with her aunt's toxic marriage to Glenn until he ends in divorce. Take a look.
My Aunt Penny needs to leave Glenn and get a divorce. Glenn is a pig who has little man syndrome. There is 100% no doubt that my aunt is in a verbally abusive relationship with Glenn. She calls her a monkey, tells her to go f*** herself. Their marriage is completely based on lies. I lived with my Aunt Penny and Glenn in 2015. I found a whole bunch of sex toys hidden under the couch. I told my Aunt Penny about the sex toys, but she did not want to believe it. He claimed the sex toys belonged to his deceased wife. Glenn has some type of hold over my aunt because she acts like she can't live without him. In 2015, we pulled up to the house. Glenn was running around with a gun screaming that somebody had broken into the house. I think Glenn creates these fake situations to make my Aunt Penny feel like she's only safe when he's around. Glenn is manipulative, he's a cheat, a liar, and he will never change. I want to confront Glenn and expose him and let people know the type of man that he really is.
Okay, thank you for being here. Glenn, you seem to be struggling right now. Are you having trouble with, are you having an anxiety attack?
First of all, you owe my aunt and my family an apology.
Okay, you guys don't understand how this works. I'll get to you in a minute.
Yes, Dr. Phil.
Are you having an anxiety attack right now? Are you having trouble breathing? I've asked you to sit back so you can open your lungs up because you're closing them down right now. So if you'll kind of sit up in the chair and sit up straight and sit back, you'll open your lungs up where you can breathe a little bit.
Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
This is what he does.
I understand. If you want to take a break, would you like to take a break? Would you like to take a break?
Yes.
Okay, Matt, will you come help him and he can go backstage and here we'll come this way. Okay.
Listen, this is all a show.
Just hold on.
I know you've seen this before.
Okay. That's okay. Okay.
As soon as I...
Here, let me have your hand and we can sit up here a minute. Sit up a little bit here. There we go. All right. Now, if you'll stand, we'll take you backstage where a nurse can attend to you. You want to do that? All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, guys, hold on.
Okay, we got you.
Hold on. No, you can stand. Anxiety doesn't take your legs away. You can stand.
I got you. I got you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I got you. I got you. Don't worry about it.
Is he faking?
It's all right.
Well, he's... it's
Couple steps.
his symptoms are inconsistent with what he's reporting, but it's endemic upon me to call medical personnel to examine him.
And that's what he does. Every new job he starts, within a month, I get a phone call. We've had to take your husband by paramedics. He's had a major panic attack. It's consistent.
Well, I understand, and that's part of the pathology. Penny says she doesn't want an abusive man like Glenn around her daughter. We've seen some explosive anger and rage here that just kind of came out of the blue when you suggested something he didn't want to hear. But I have some questions about how that impacts the child, what the duties are that you have, and what pattern that I think you seem to be ignoring here. So, Glenn may join us again. He may not. Either way, it's not going to change what I have to say to you and what these two ladies have to say to you. So we'll be right back to talk about that.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
In through your nose, out through your mouth. Close your eyes.
Closed captioning provided by...
I think Glenn is a really bad father. Their daughter acts like she is scared of Glenn.
Glenn looks at his daughter like she's a burden. Glenn is a very absent father. He leaves Penny to take care of her all by herself.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate Glenn a 1. Glenn has been physically abusive to our daughter, and I don't trust him around her.
I would never do anything to harm my daughter. I try to love her and be the best father that I can be.
Well, Penny claims she is leaving her lying and cheating husband, Glenn. She says she's doing it next month, but is unsure if she has the strength to walk away for good. Now, Glenn was here, but towards the end of our last bit of conversation here, he started to report that he was having trouble breathing. I asked him to sit up so he could open his lungs and regulate his breathing. He did not respond to that. I asked him if he was having an anxiety attack. He said yes. I asked him if he'd like to go backstage and have medical personnel examine him. He said yes, but then he fell down on stage. We helped him up and helped him backstage. I don't know if he's doing this as a avoidance mechanism because he feels like he's sitting across from a firing squad here, 3 to 1, or if in fact he hyperventilates to the point that he gets ischemic, hypoxic, and loses some focus and falls over. I don't know. You say that this is a very common practice with him, that if he gets confronted or gets under pressure or wants to avoid something, that he feigns an anxiety attack and goes to the hospital.
All the time.
And there's never anything wrong with him.
No.
Then he comes
Never.
back. But you understand, doing that, let's say he's doing that totally manipulative, that in and of itself is pathology.
Right.
The fact
I
that you
understand that.
do that rather than confront and deal with your circumstance and situation, that alone is pathological.
Right.
And change-worthy. I took a look at what you have in front of you. What you have in front of you, and I put it together in a chronological order so we can take a look at it. We go back to February 11, back here, and what we see here is his wife passes away, and as I told him, I'm sorry for his loss. Nobody likes to experience that. And you say he kisses you the day of the memorial service. Your response was you pulled away, felt like it was too soon after his wife's death.
Yeah, way
But
too soon.
now, at that point, this should really be a red flag for you.
And it was.
Okay, but then we come to March. This is just a month later. He announces love for you on the store loudspeaker and then shares an alleged letter from his deceased wife giving her blessing. And your response is you feel embarrassed that you're betraying your friend's memory, but you feel comforted by the letter.
I did.
You don't know about the authenticity of the letter, and kind of like the anxiety attack, it seemed to come in a really convenient time.
It did.
Wouldn't that cause you to say, I'm suspicious about this?
Honestly, I was suspicious, but he is so good at making you feel the world, and he knew my prior relationship, so he knew how to work me.
We come to April here, and there's an arranged proposal where he's singing and they're holding up signs and everything. And your response here is you agree to the marriage.
I did.
And in fact, you're married soon thereafter,
Yeah,
like the next
right,
month. There's another red flag here that you should be concerned about?
I should have, but I didn't.
Okay, so now we jump ahead, and we're into June of 2018. He physically abuses your daughter.
Yes, he
Now,
did.
he'll say no to that, so he's not here, so let me deny it for him.
Okay.
Because he said before he left, I love my daughter, but you say you witnessed that he squeezes her arm, he slapped her leg, and you told him that that was uncalled for.
When that happened, I started thinking in myself, I'm not going to do this. He's not going to do this to our daughter.
We actually have pictures of that.
That's where he squeezed her arm.
One definition of abuse is failure of a parent to keep a child out of harm's way.
Me and her went to my parents.
Now, listen to me. It's endemic upon you if you have a child exposed to someone that you believe is a danger to them, can get physical with them, can do harm to them mentally, emotionally, physically, or through negligence, fail to feed them, whatever, in any way constitute a problem with them, and you fail to remove that child from that situation, that's negligence on your part,
Well,
and you're guilty of abuse.
I called the women's hotline and asked them what I needed to do.
Is the child still living in the home with the father?
No. We're in a separate home now.
Okay, I want to be sure you understand the impact of this. We'll talk more about this when we come back. Closed captioning provided by
Okay.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
All right. How are you?
First name?
Yeah.
All right, then. Let me put these stickers on you, okay?
In through your nose, out through your mouth. Close your eyes. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Long, deep breaths.
Can you all afford me about 1 minute to talk with him for just a second before you take him away? So, Glenn, I guess they're going to take you and check you out. Have you told them that you have these anxiety attacks on a regular basis?
Yes.
This is a recurring thing for you?
I had one this morning, had to go out front of the motel when the guy at the counter had to sit with me and walk around after I took my pill.
You said that you've had trouble finding help to get this. Well, I want to tell you that I'm going to arrange that for you.
Thank you.
I'm going to arrange you a counselor that's going to work with you specifically, beginning with giving you the tools to handle this anxiety on your own.
Thank you, too.
Not just leaning on the medication. We're going to get that handled, and then when you've got that under control, then we can deal with the other things. Because you deserve to have some help with this.
I needed it. That's what I wanted to talk to you. I got problems in my head where I can't let stuff go, and it builds up anger and frustration, and I don't know how to get it out.
Well, you're not going to get that out through a pill bottle. You're going to get that out with some good quality professional help, and I'm going to arrange that for you the minute you get home.
But thank you.
Okay? All right. You take care, and we'll be in touch right away.
Thank
you. Got very competent help here for you. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Last year I told Glenn, either we go to counseling or I'm going to move in with my parents. The counselor wanted to separate us due to Glenn's anger issues.
Well, I stopped going because the counselor Penny was talking to was trying to drive our family apart.
I told the counselor about his temper. My counselor looked at me in the eyes and said, what the hell are you still doing with him?
In my mind, Dr. Phil is the best in the world. Dr. Phil listens to both sides, and I honestly believe Dr. Phil can see that I am trying to change him.
Well, Penny says that her 7-year-old marriage to her husband Glenn is over. The question is, should it be? After his panic attack, he just left with the paramedics. I chatted with him for just a minute to tell him that I'm going to get him some help. So I will arrange for him to have some one-on-one counseling. He does need it, and so do you.
Yes, sir, I do.
Amen.
Yes, I do.
Because
that's why I wrote you.
Listen, you have two ladies here that obviously care very much about you, and they're willing to come here. They're telling you what they see. We have a brief statement from your mother. I'm not reading the whole thing, but just I've paraphrased it. This man has hurt Penny so bad over the years. Penny should most definitely leave him. He changed when they had their daughter and has little interest in being a father. No woman should take the abuse this man has put her through. I support my daughter 100%, but they need to put their daughter first. If Penny doesn't leave him now, then she has made her bed.
Amen, Grandma. Yep, that's my mama. And I agree totally to everything my mother said.
That's her position. Now, you're asking me what you should do. Should you get out of this marriage, or should you stay in the marriage?
Yes. Can he get help to the point that he can be a good dad and I can trust him again? Because the trust issues, the lies, the manipulating, the deceitfulness, is that something that he can get control of and be the man that I thought he was?
Being the one that kissed you at his wife's memorial service.
There you go.
And asked you to marry him.
Right.
I mean,
you're right. You're right.
I mean, we need a common sense alert here. This is just plain common sense.
My problem is I care about everybody and I try to fix everybody.
No,
and then I put me here.
Your problem is you are an economic prisoner. You feel like you can't afford to leave.
Mm-hmm. That's
That's why you're there. You're not there because you think he might get better. You're not there because you think maybe there's a future. You're there because you don't think you can afford to leave.
But I found out I can, and that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Listen, I would much rather have you and your daughter living in a shelter where you are safe and she is loved than to have the two of you living in a situation with an unstable individual that is subject to explosive, unchecked rage that can go off the high side. And you sent a text that referenced a gun.
Yes, sir, I had the gun.
You said that he came home looking for a gun. Here's the text exchange between Penny and Miranda. Penny, Glenn came in asking where the gun was, called me a blanking idiot. So if I'm shot tonight in my sleep, he killed me. I just needed to text someone this for proof. Miranda's response, wow, you need to leave. If you're in a box under a bridge, you're better off than putting yourself and your daughter's lives in danger with someone that is unstable. This is not a close call. We'll be right back. Closed captioning provided by It's time for you to step up and be an adult and take that child out of this dangerous situation, get somewhere that the two of you can focus on a mother-daughter bond and put her needs above yours and above everyone else and help her to feel that she is a quality, top-notch human being. And you know, you've been in the hospital, you need to take care of yourself. You're the only mother this child will ever have. Will this man get himself under control? I don't know. He certainly can. I'm an incurable optimist. I believe I can bring him really quality help, and I think he can respond to that. And I think he probably will. But that's a question for a year from now. The immediate concern is your safety and your daughter's safety. Your self-worth and self-esteem is so low right now that you're apparently willing to accept things that you just never would have thought you were willing to accept.
No, this isn't me.
I mean, your friend just told you that you've changed, that you're not the person that you were. I mean, you guys see that, right?
We do.
So you need some professional help, and I'm going to get that for you,
Thank
but
you.
not couples therapy.
I don't want that right now.
That's not what's going to happen. You need to be away from him, but I think the therapist that I'm going to involve him with is going to tell him, you're not in a position to be in a parenting role right now. Let's focus on you. And I think you're going to find that if he will listen to this therapist, and I think he will, that you're going to have a completely different situation because the adults are getting ready to arrive on the scene.
Thank you.
And take the help I'm going to arrange for you and protect that little girl.
That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here.
All right. I want to thank all of my guests today. We will see you next time.